Hey Scott, it seems we are live.
That's a good thing. We figured that part of it out, haven't we?
Right.
Well, hey, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for listening in to our conversation today. This shouldn't take very long, but I think it's really important for us to be able to talk about the challenges and issues that all normal business users face in kind of this world we call digital transformation or remote working or any other trite and overused term that we hear out there in the industry right now. The bottom line is everyone's collaborating on Teams now, and it's a very important platform. And it's important for us as a company and as a team to help people do that very efficiently, very securely, and do it in a way that every business user can actually use it. So that's really kind of our mantra. I don't know if I created a new marketing term there for us or not, Ashish, but it's probably an appropriate place to start this conversation. What we hope today is just really make it conversational and just briefly talk about some of the main things that people are facing. Ashish, I know that you encounter those every day. How would you? What would be your main approach to first steps?
All right. So thanks, Scott. So I think today I would like to talk more about some of the common pain areas that we come across when we are using Teams day in and day out, right?
Right.
Teams is very popular. It's like a permanent window, always open in our laptops throughout the day. And as you know, we are getting more familiar with Teams. It seems that we would want to, utilize more and more features of Teams, right? So apart from communication, one of the strengths in the Teams is about documents, sharing, channel documents, files. So there are a lot of areas that I come across with business users, during the Teams adoption, that what kind of problems do they want, do they face day to day? And, one of the things which comes very often is that security on the documents is one. Second is, working offline. I mean, this is something that probably I like to talk a little more about that and discuss with you. But work offline is kind of a dream of every business user, that no matter where he is, he's traveling. I mean, still he doesn't have to log in into an online version of M365, but still he has an access to all his documents with full security. And those kind of things that we want to talk about today. These things are available in M365, but they're very hard to achieve unless you spend a lot of consulting, trainings. So I think the whole context of today's conversation is to drive some comfort zones, towards the users in terms of familiarizing them with what else can we do to eliminate these kind of pain areas that we come across every day, right?
Right.
So in this regard, I think I like to take your opinion on some of the areas that you experience in your day-to-day life, and how do you want users to overcome these problems?
And I'm usually the guinea pig because I'm a normal business user. I'm not an engineer, right? So
Right. So that's the whole idea. I mean, if you can figure out how to simplify the whole stuff, I think that gives a kind of hope to rest of the business users, right? That they can also do that, right?
that's right. I'll agree. I'll agree.
Yes. So the first thing that comes in my mind is always about what if I don't have internet access
Yeah.
and I want to access my Teams documents.
Well,
right? How do I bring my all channel, important channel files into my local machine, and how can I work offline? I think that's where I want you to just share your experience or explain it to our users, right?
okay. I can do that. I'm going to share my screen. And while I'm sharing, it's interesting. The last time I flew, I actually flew through an airport that had a very restrictive and unsafe, or actually unsafe Wi Fi environment. My system wouldn't even connect to it. And they had somehow throttled my MiFi on my phone. I couldn't get connected. So ultimately, what what I ended up doing is just going and buying a book and not being able to work in the airport while I sat there for 3 or 4 hours. But all of our users and all of our customers typically work inside teams, and they're part of multiple teams groups. And what I'm showing, can you see my screen, Ashish?
Yes, yes, I can. Right.
Okay, good. I've just opened up the teams groups that I'm part of in this environment, and there are several groups that I'm members of. And typically, the way most people work is they collaborate with other people on specific files, and they share those files out inside those groups. Well, I have to be connected to the internet to get to these. Typically, I'm sure I could figure out by digging deeply within the bowels of SharePoint, how to properly keep these files on a local copy, etc. But as a normal business user, I certainly can't do that. Our answer, of course, is to just make it easy for everyone by allowing you to connect to that group through our document management system. I'll show you how to do that real quickly. I'm pulling up the Titan Workspace DMS and opening group documents. You can see I have several groups listed there, but that group was not listed in this document. All I have to do is, and I have some choices here. I can create a title, of course, but I can create a new library, link to an existing SharePoint library, or link to Microsoft Teams documents, and the system will go out and see that I'm part of this team that I created called Simplify Collaboration. And I can see that when I click on that, there are multiple participants or members of that collaboration environment. All I have to do is add this library to my DMS, and that will pull this library inside the DMS. So that I can then simply open the library and sync the library to my system. Actually, I need to open that folder. Here we go. I've already synced it. That's why it's why it is doing that. But I can sync specific files also, right? Now, when I go to the drive itself, I'll be able to see those synchronized files. Ashish, I've done something wrong here.
You can sync anything. I mean, any other file, any other
Yeah.
file. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, this is sometimes.
There we go.
Yes.
I think I restarted that earlier. So I can see that pseudo library's been synced. I now have a TFW Labs file called pseudo library. And those files are listed and available for me in my local drive. Now, what's also important is you'll see some locks and things associated with those files. I think we're going to talk about in a minute.
So basically, what you're trying to do here is that, for a typical business user, it's very hard for them to bring everything from Teams channel into your C drive, right?
Yes.
So Titan Workspace has made it very simple that with just one click, you can bring the entire image of your Microsoft Teams particular channel or multiple channels directly into your local C drive. And that gives you an ability to work offline without having even an internet, right? And you can change those files, update those files, and as soon as you get onto the internet, so everything will get synced automatically with your Teams files, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a very useful business use case, especially for people those are not very, uh, you know, not very familiar with how they can bring Teams channel and files to their local drive
Right.
without learning deeply into SharePoint or without learning a lot of technical tools for doing that, right? And
Right.
Titan Workspace has done it with just one click, right?
Yeah. That's right. So that's basically just an easy way to use it on a local system without being connected to the internet. You can
Right.
you can
Now, my next question would be, now, since you have brought these files to your local drive, what about security?
well
Okay. So,
certainly.
for example, if on certain channel files we have put security on certain documents that certain users can't access it, certain users can't see it, it is So how do you make sure that your security when you're syncing, you're not only syncing the files, but you are inheriting the entire security of that particular teams
Right.
into your local drive? Can you just show us?
Yes, I can.
And how does
Well,
it look into Teams? How do you identify what security has been applied within Teams?
okay. Within Teams,
Yeah.
I'm able to identify what security is applied by looking at the permissions that have been applied to these files. You can see this is the file system that I'd opened earlier. You can see when and where those permissions have been modified for each file. In the case of this one called Oklahoma.pdf, that doesn't look like any permissions have been modified on that file. Now, of course, within Teams or within Titan Workspace, I'm able to go to that file called Oklahoma within that group. And I could now open up this permissions document that allows me to manage permissions. Now you can see that automatically anything, we have different classes of users. We have owners, we have visitors, and we have members.
Right.
A visitor may be a non-AD user that's collaborating with us through one of our guest user portals even. So we have standard sets of permissions set up for that class of user. If I want to manage those permissions and change it for individuals, I'm able to actually at the member type, identify member, modify their permission to read only, for example, and submit. And then the system would then, over in Teams, now, it will take a few minutes for the system catch up, but in Teams, when the system recognizes that permission change, it will be listed associated with this Oklahoma document. And when the system resyncs, that permission's applied not only inside Teams but also in the file that you've created in your local collaboration file for the local system.
This is interesting. I mean, what we just saw here is
there it just appeared.
Oh yes, I could
Yeah.
see that it is very nicely handled. so that any changes that you're doing in your document management system in terms of changing the permissions, we have
Yes.
an ability to show that in a separate column within your team's files, right?
Right.
And that's very convenient for everybody, right? So both the things are taken care of very well. One, you are able to add different permissions for different members within the same channel on a same file. And
Mm-hmm.
not only that, you are making it much easier within teams to see what permissions are applied on that file, right?
Yes, it's very simple to get this audit trail of permission changes for each file or each user. Right.
Right, right. And also, when you're syncing everything to your C drive, all these restrictions on that file are inherited by your local
Yes.
sync. And in fact, if there is a file where you have put nobody can download that file, I mean, nobody can modify that file. So if that other user syncs his entire channel, he'll not be able to modify that file too. So this is the very good, I would say, an excellent way of helping business users to evangelize more of the Teams platform with simplicity that the Titan brings within the system, right?
Yes. There's so many use cases here, Ashish. I know I've talked to some HR professionals, and I've used this scenario before, but I mean, if you have succession planning groups collaborating on documents that should stay secure, obviously those types of groups get created out in teams, so for ease of collaboration, and that's that those are documents that you don't want to have floating around there unsecured, regardless of where what collaboration platform are being used.
Right, right. That's great, Scott. So the other thing which comes in my mind is, since you have shown a very deep integration of uh, document collaboration within Teams and SharePoint now,
Right.
right? Without learning SharePoint, I mean, and with a very nice document management interface that logically segregates all the logical zones for a business user in terms of his my documents, his business departmental
Mhm.
documents, project documents, and all. So this
Well,
is
and I
something.
think that I think the thing that we don't talk about enough, also, Ashish, is the fact that we allow you to continue to work in the platform that you are comfortable with,
Oh
because
yes,
we've applied these permissions with our DMS. You can continue to be part of this Microsoft Teams group and collaborate there, but do it in a more secure way.
right. Now tell me another thing. So this is about Teams, right? What if my documents are there in my project sites, my other SharePoint sites,
Mm-hmm.
my group documents? I'm part of 10 projects and I'm working offline. I want to work offline, right? I'm traveling, and these are large files. I want to bring all my project documents in my C drive directly and work offline. So is that scenario also possible?
Sure. I'll go back to our document management system. You see, we also have a section called project documents.
Right.
And that really, the system associates any project that you're a participant in to be, listed here.
Right.
And I'll just pick one. This happens to be called Design a 16-plex set, and it gives a location. So these are the documents associated here with the project. Those are also in our project tab, associated with the project that in that location too. But it gets listed over here. Now, again, in the same way, I can sync this file or these files to my system.
So now you're syncing your project documents directly into your C drive.
That's correct. And you can see this is now in the C drive or in my local system. Any permissions that have been applied, as we said before, will sync here to this local drive so that I can, if I have a read-only document, I can read it in my local drive, but not do anything else to it.
Right. This is fantastic. I mean, this is so. What we are talking here is that anything within your document management system, right? Be
Right.
it your Teams files, be it your SharePoint sites, be it your departmental documents or project documents or your custom libraries.
Mm-hmm.
With one click, you can bring everything or anything into your C drive
Yes,
and work offline, right?
that is correct.
Okay, this is fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
So, with this deep integration within Teams, other than document syncing, what else is very convenient for Titan users
Well,
when it comes to communication between their tasks or projects with their other team members? As we see that the chat is very convenient in Teams. One thing I really love about Teams is chat, and that's cool,
yes,
right?
yes,
So we all, you know, we don't want to switch on to any other chat engine. Even if you try to build it somewhere else, we want everything to come within Teams, right?
yeah,
So from
yeah.
that perspective, I mean, what is there for our business users where you have simplified the whole stuff?
The great part about Teams as a platform and Titan Workspace as a platform that helps to enhance Teams is that we're working in one ecosystem in one environment, and as the more chat type collaboration we can keep on the platform, the better, and it just helps drive more adoption internally within a company as well as actual efficiency within projects and tasks. So let me go jump on the task management system and really quickly show you one of the tasks that have been assigned out by me. Okay, and I'll just pick a simple one. It's called Dallas Office Setup. It's a basic task. We have a few people collaborating on it with us or with me. You can see pretty straightforward setup for those of you that haven't seen our task management system. This is the main individual task panel that gets opened up when you set up a task. But now we have Teams messages. So any message is update your status. That's typical. I can submit a message inside this task, and that message automatically creates a. I'm going to add Tanya to this because I was trying to have her live on this system. There we go. There she is. Okay, and submit. It creates a task. I'm going to open another task because I've done something to this one.
So what you're trying to do here, trying to show here is there is a task, and
Yeah.
if any communication happens within that task, right?
That's correct.
How is it getting integrated with your Teams chat, right? Directly.
That's correct.
Okay.
And here we have a task that we've already used. Assign new users. You can see this automatically adds that to the list. And over in my chat box, it has brought that chat or created a chat, but also opened a chat box inside Teams so that any chat collaboration related to a task management system automatically creates a Teams focused chat.
So that means this particular task has a unique ID, and I can see that in the task, there's an ID and the task name, and you kind of create a group chat for that
Yes,
particular task, right?
that is correct.
Any member in that group can now conveniently communicate within Teams chat directly without going into, Titan Workspace, right? But
That's
the
correct. You can
tasks,
see we're interacting here.
oh yes,
Yes. Okay. You can see I'm in the chat box, messaging back and forth with Tanya. So now when I return to that,
whenever you go back to your task, right?
right.
So
Now
you
I
would
go
see
back to
that
the
entire
task.
history.
I can see very quickly that those interactions have been also captured inside the task itself. And there it is. Interact now in this. I didn't type very well, but you could see the rolling conversation among all of the stakeholders within the task is captured here.
All right. This is very useful because typically what happens is that task or to-do management is very important now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of conversation that can happen around to-dos and tasks.
Yes.
So what we are trying to showcase here is that if there is a task already created and you don't want to get into the system throughout the day, you are on your mobile, somebody's put some comments within the tasks about his progress or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see that update on your mobile directly within your Teams chat, and from there you can respond or you can update that chat, right?
That's correct. That's correct. And it eliminates you having to, if you're collaborating with this specific team that's working together on a task, it just eliminates you having to bounce to another part of the application to interact.
Right. So this is great feature. I mean, I think this is definitely very useful for internal collaboration and external collaboration both. A lot of times we have external guest users, right, as part of
Yes.
our projects, and they are using our guest user portals. And I could see that from now onwards with this feature, I mean, they can interact with their chat features directly within the project teams and all without getting into the project module, right? And
Yes.
that's so convenient.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
I
a
think
cool
that
feature.
that's impressive. Now, in terms of when we're talking about leaving a comment within your task,
Mm-hmm.
how about commenting certain documents? I mean,
Well, this is a recent feature that we've released. In fact, it's so recent that that we haven't put it onto my demo system yet. And I will show you on our live system that we use internally. We have our own DMS. We use our own stuff, so we have our own DMS system that we utilize corporate wide. And wait for it to activate here, since I haven't turned it on in a while.
so what's a pain area that you solve here?
Yeah, the challenge is disassociated comments or comments related to documents that need to be modified. A good example would be any kind of contract or process document that you may want to modify or update. Here's an example: an intranet brochure. I want people to review it for correction, or when is the next version coming? That's a comment I put in earlier. Anyone that has access to this document can add comments to this comment section. So it's not embedded in the document, but it's attached to the document within the system. So a lot like a It works a lot like a kind of an audit trail type document in that you always have access to it when you access that document. So you can add any comment. Then everyone who has access to the document then would have access to these updates and comments.
So basically, see, if I understand correctly, the use case that you're saying here is that suppose if there is a Word document or an Excel file, now if this is shared with 10 people and we generally want to put our comments, which sometimes we don't want to be part of the document, right?
Yes, or you may have an attachment you want to add along
Yes.
with comments.
Or maybe just observations on certain
Right.
content within the document. We don't want to change the content, but we want to make some observation on top of that, or we
Correct.
want to comment that. So, currently the option with the business user is we go to Word and we go to, we can go to a review mode and then we can put our comments there, right?
Yes.
And these comments you can see within the documents, right? But then it changes the whole dynamics of the way that document looks, because now there is a main text, main content, and then there are comments separately.
Right.
If you
As
go
opposed to
to
sticky notes all over the place on a PDF or something like that.
right. So
Yeah.
therefore, if I have to just put my observation, which I don't want to include in the document, there's no way other than
Right.
what Titan just has.
Well, the only other way is to create a big email and attach a document and
An
send it,
attached document.
which we're trying to avoid that anyway.
Yes. So, for example, if you don't have PDF writer, and if somebody has shared a PDF with you, how would you comment that?
Yeah, I
Right.
have to find something to modify PDF or add a comment to it.
Right. So, but with Titan Workspace, what you're trying to show me is any type of file, I want to put my reviewed comments on it, or I want to put my observations on it, or multiple people want to put their ideas to improvise the document, right? So we can put that in a separate window, and that gets attached to the document without
Right.
changing the document contents, right?
That is correct.
So this could be very useful, right?
It's almost like you've seen this before, Ashish.
Right. That's true.
You're right.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. That's
So
important.
we are trying to tell. So what message would you like to give to our M365 users about this feature?
Well, this is yet another enhancement within our document management system that allows us to make access to documents and the ability to work with and secure documents available to any business user, right?
Right.
You don't have to be a SharePoint expert. You don't have to be an administrator. You don't have to be an engineer or a software expert. This is all very functional and available.
And in terms of, maybe you can stop sharing and let's talk a little bit about how can we help our customers, how can we help our Teams users with the whole new approach, which is very simplified. So how would you like to position this?
Obviously, we have had so much happen within the last 4 to 6 months in terms of product enhancements, the way we've improved even more the way we support the all business users in being able to use the Office 365 stack. So I think it's important that everyone know that we're available at any time to discuss, talk, demonstrate, or if they need to use our system in their environment or think about it, we certainly have a proof of concept, kind of process available so that we can really try these things out in your environment. We cherish the opportunity to talk to you about it.
Right. That's great. So we look forward to some of our community members,
Hmm.
partners, and prospects. Those are interested in learning more about how can we simplify life of Teams user, right?
Yeah, and we'll continue. We just scratch the surface a little bit. I've said that before, but we just try and pick out a few really important sections that we enhance and talk about them in these sessions. And we'll have more of these sessions. We'll have another one next month, and we'll dig into another part of the equation. So yeah, anybody that wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we look forward for more exciting stuff next month. Until
Yes.
then, that's goodbye from us.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.